Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Spencer Penrod, a world builder who makes worlds for stories and D&D campaigns and things like that. Today we are getting into Hazbin Hotel again. It's been a few days since I've recorded, since I got a little sick, so my memories are a bit foggy, but from what I remember, last time we were introduced to the V's, this powerful tech group that are pretty anti-Alistair. They kind of provoked each other. They sent someone in to infiltrate the hotel, which was Sir Percival. Is that his name? Why can't I remember his name? Anyway, I'll figure out his name as we watch, I guess. And he just was going full throttle, acting as a member of the hotel, and then immediately gets caught and then says sorry and seems to go back to being a member of the hotel. We didn't get too much about the world other than some information about the structure of like powerful companies and how they influence the world. And then a little bit about we're really just shown that no one has any idea what they're doing when it comes to trying to redeem people, which makes sense as that seemingly has never been done before. But I don't remember getting too much else. So let's go ahead and jump into this episode and see what we can learn.
That looks perfect!
Serpentius, that's it.
Serpentius is staying at the
This year's extermination was brutal. Far more even than years past. We have assessed that about 16% of the population was lost. With the angelic legions now returning twice as quickly, I think it prudent we...
Yes, I've got it handled, Vox. Are you doubting me? Really? Me? That's what I thought. Yes, I know.
So I haven't had anything to say so far. Once again, this is a very character-focused show, and it doesn't give us much to go off of for the world that I haven't already commented on. And even the stuff I have commented on, it seems to want to ignore in favor of just character drama or humor. But what I'm getting from this presentation is that the Overlords of Hell are probably not on friendly grounds with each other, but workable grounds, which shows that even though we've seen Hell as this really out of control place that, people literally setting themselves on fire, murdering each other just for fun, like as out of control as everything seems, the people at the top are restrained. They're not subject to the same out of control desires that seem to govern the rest of the population. So that's interesting. The other thing I'm getting is she said that in this last purge, the angels eliminated 16% of the population of Hell. That is a wildly high number. Obviously, if they're doing yearly exterminations and they're all at that level, eventually the population is going to dwindle down to nothing. But what stands out to me is that I guess, first of all, we see a graph here. It's going to be a little hard to pick up because of Amazon's filter. But this graph shows that there was a decline in the exterminations before it shot up again. And even though it looks like it is higher amount of exterminations than in the past, it's not like exponentially so. It's a linear increase, which means it's more manageable. But it makes me wonder why it decreased one year. And then it also makes me wonder why they're using percentages to measure how many people have been killed. Because if they're doing these yearly exterminations, let's say they kill 100,000 people a year. in year 1, that might only be 0.1% of the population. But if hell increases its population slowly, then year 2, it might be 0.3%. And then year 4, it might be 0.6%. And as the population continues to decline, the relative percentage of how many people they've killed is going to go up. So to me, what this linear increase in graph says is less that they've been killing more people every year, and more that Hell's population is really slow to build, and that the angels are probably killing a similar number of people every year, but it represents an ever-growing percentage of the population because it's just not being replenished fast enough. It could be that they're just killing more people. That is kind of the implication with how they're talking here. But the way that they're measuring that increase speaks more to people trying to evoke an emotional response than people trying to look at hard numbers. Like, even if they say that 16% of the population was eliminated, they need to temper that with how many that actually is. Otherwise, the number is meaningless in comparison to how how the extermination was last year. You need to have information about how the population grew in between exterminations. Otherwise, especially if you're doing percentage measurements, it's kind of meaningless. So the fact that this is how they're presenting things, I think, speaks to someone trying to maneuver people into an emotional reaction or into some action that favors their agenda, rather than someone who's like coldly presenting hard data that speaks and tells its own story.
They're all a joke. Thank you, V. See you soon. Kisses, darling.
Nice of you to join us, Velvet. Will your colleagues be joining?
No, they have better shit to do than to listen to an old windbag who thinks she's tough shit. I'm here to represent.
Charming. So, as I was saying, we need to discuss... Yes?
On the subject of discussion.
Oh, tasty.
Where did you get this?
We found it during Extermination Day. If these holy rollers can be killed, the game has changed. We can take the fight to them. The boys and I have come up with a full assault plan.
So I don't know if they're going to touch on this, but no one has claimed that kill yet. And obviously, there are really powerful people in Hell. Even outside of the Overlords, we know that there are powerful people because at one point, Alistair was just a random nobody who was super powerful. And then he rose to power. So the fact that there are really powerful people just scattered throughout Hell with a vested interest in not being exterminated or not having the people under their rule exterminated speaks to the fact that they've probably tried to fight off these exterminations in the past and been unable to do it. So either they're just not powerful enough to deal with the angels, and this plan of hers is just going to fail because they don't have whoever it was that was uniquely powerful to kill an angel, or there's some kind of special method you need to do to kill an angel, and they are going to fail because they don't know what that method is, and someone special has figured it out and performed like a proof of concept kill. But also, as I'm talking, I seem to remember that at the end of that first episode, the angels recovered the intact corpse of that angel that was killed. So does this mean that 2 of them were killed? In which case, why were the angels only looking for one and talking about it as if there was one? And if they didn't, then why were the demons able to get their hands on the head of this corpse? In fact, I'm going to double check this because this seems important. Okay, I was wrong. So we do see them getting the headless corpse of the angel. That's what they recovered. So never mind about that whole tangent, I suppose. I was just misremembering it. I still think the point about them not being able to kill the angels unless something changes is relevant, though. So I wonder if they're going to address that.
Oh, what's the matter, Fossil? Too senile to make a real power grab?
You better show some respect. Check your behavior.
Wasn't expecting a song.
No one speaks to Zestial that way.
No wonder I'm so respectless.
Why is he singing in normal English?
Mom, maybe he should know.
Nobody should know. I did what I had to do. I am not discussing this.
What's the point of bringing him here then? So I noticed here, finally something to talk about, I guess. We've got up in the sky what I thought was hell is that planet there. And then what definitely looks like heaven up in the top left. So I'm really confused. I wonder if Earth is like post-apocalyptic or something, or if this takes place somewhere other than Earth. That doesn't make sense though, because it definitely has Earth lore, like Adam and Eve and all that. So it'd be confusing if that was Earth, but it obviously looks nothing like Earth. It's red, it's got a pentagram on it. The continents don't look anything alike. So I wonder what that is. Maybe a moon? I guess a moon would make sense. But then that would imply that hell has a moon and heaven is almost a moon to hell itself, which would be weird. It could also imply that what we're looking at is just one part of hell. Like maybe hell is divided into multiple parts and that planet is one part and where Hazbin is another part. I would assume that the giant pentagram in the sky we see would also be visible from that planet because they have a giant pentagram on them. So maybe the planet we're on and Hazbin looks similar, which would imply that that isn't Earth because Earth doesn't have a giant pentagram in the sky. Yeah, I guess my best guess is a moon or maybe another part of hell. And it makes me want to keep an eye out for other celestial bodies because maybe maybe we see other parts of hell in the sky as well. I think I've seen people mention in the comments that something I missed, I don't remember if it was in the first episode or the pilot, was that the newscaster referred to the 9 circles of hell, I believe. Something like that. Or 9 rings of hell. Or 7. I've seen people comment both of those numbers, so I don't know which. But with that potentially being the case, maybe each layer is, or each circle is its own planet. That'd be interesting. But then it would be a little weird that all we're seeing in the sky is one of them and then heaven. So it doesn't fit perfectly unless we can see others throughout the series, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I want to keep an eye on that. It's interesting. All right, well, that's episode 3. I'm having less and less to talk about as this goes on. I've heard that the sister series Hell of a Boss has a lot more details about the world and society in it, whereas Hazbin Hotel is a lot more focused on character interaction and humor. So it makes sense that there's not a ton to talk about. But it is a little disappointing. The show is interesting, and it feels like it's got a lot of interesting things buried beneath the surface, but it doesn't give you a lot to work on to actually find what those things are or to learn about them. Yeah, so it's something I'm not sure is a great fit for me or in the channel. I think what I'm going to do, I'll post this video and then probably put out a poll to see what people think about me continuing. Maybe I'll just switch to Hell of a Boss instead. Or maybe I'll just continue and be okay with shorter episodes that don't have much to say. But in any case, thank you for sticking around. We're probably going to have to trim this video down a lot because it was a lot of uninterrupted watching of the show. So if you want to see the full unedited cut, check out the Patreon. Link is in the description. If you're interested in having me critique or give feedback to your own world building projects, you can hire me to do that on Ko-fi. Link is in the description for that as well. Otherwise, subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you next time.